Mm-hmm.
people don't understand is actually there's like 3 R's, 3 responses that you can kind of control, which is, your thoughts, the feelings, and it's your stories to tell yourself. And actually, we get a choice. So we could decide to go, this could be really scary, or hey, I'm just going to give it a go. And the
Mm-hmm.
outcome will be whatever happens. And that's it. It's just an outcome. It's nothing, failure, no success, doesn't matter. It's just an outcome. It's just something that happens.
Greetings, one and all, wherever you are in the universe, and welcome to the latest episode of an Espresso Shot of Confidence. I'm your host, the Master of Awesomeness, Ashley Griffiths, and today we're going to talk about all things confidence, presentations, public speaking, and why not add a touch of magic as well. And who better to speak to about this than the awesome Ricky Locke, the Chief Encouraging Officer of the Confidence Club, the host of the Unlock podcast, and an award-winning magician. Good afternoon, Ricky. How's it going?
Hello, mate. I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Fabulous. Fabulous. Enjoying the beautiful summer weather here in the UK with the great grey clouds and rain and cold. Loving it.
Yeah,
Fabulous.
finally, isn't it? Yeah, we're getting something, can't we, from the last couple of strange months. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So for anyone out there that is not familiar with you, and why the hell are you not already? But if they are, for any reason, not familiar with you, you just give a little introduction. Who are you?
Yeah, good. Well, you gave a really lovely one. So I guess to follow up from that one, so I am a professional speaker. I'm a confidence coach. I am an award-winning wedding magician. I was voted the second best wedding magician in the UK, actually. Yeah, I lost out to a photo booth. So yeah, it's a sore subject. We're very there. It's a sore subject. But anyway, so
A
I do
photo booth.
a photo booth. I know. Tell me about it. It was a very strange competition, but essentially, it's all in like a weird Venn diagram of performing, presenting, and yeah, helping people to unlock the best version of themselves. So yeah, I
Love
help
that.
people become their best versions and be more confident in life.
Love that. Love that. One of the things you do, I know, in the Confident Club is help people with their presentations. And presentations, public speaking, videos, even any form where you of communication where you've got to put yourself in front of a group of people tends to freak people out.
Mm.
Getting up in front of people, they just like, "Ugh." So why do you think that is? Why do so many people struggle with this?
Interesting question. And I think if we start off right from the beginning, when we are born, we're literally born with no fears really, but there's kind of two actually. There's two fears, which is the fear of falling over and the fear of loud noises. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So we hate loud noises. We go, "Yeah," or we hate falling over. Which means, and that tells us that everything is learned. So if that's what we're born
Mm-hmm.
just to, everything in terms of our life and where we are right now, actually, everything is learned, which
Mm-hmm.
means everything can be unlearned. Now, a lot of people will hate the idea of it. They absolutely hate it because there's this massive belief in a lot of this we talk about in the presentation mastery workshop. You could really call it the beliefs workshop because we dive deep into NLP, but a little bit of beliefs. And because what happens is that people create a belief in their life based on false evidence. So a lot of
Yeah.
people who will rock up at our workshops, we've got some great clients such as Coca-Cola, Audible, Vistaprint. They are like senior positions, directors, managers, leaders, people in finance. And when they're probably like 15, they were told that they are a terrible presenter. They stood up at school and the teacher said, "You are terrible. Please sit down and never do that again." And they go, "Oh, okay." And then they start collecting that evidence. They
Yeah.
start building these like false tables in their head. It's what we call a belief table. We've got this big metaphor, which we'll probably go into a little bit later on. But the whole idea is they build these tables based on evidence that isn't true. So
Mm-hmm.
when they turn up at our workshop and they go, "Oh my God, I'm feeling really nervous and really bricking about it." Well, actually, we start to unpick that and find out that the evidence actually isn't true. People have just chosen to believe it. So, for example, actually, you may have a limiting belief. A lot of people have a limiting belief like just not confident, not good enough. I'll never be able to get my business to 6 figures. Or I just can't do it. Why? Well,
Mm.
the evidence that you have in your mind isn't quite true. So a lot of the reason to answer the question really is just because people have this evidence that just isn't true, but they've carried it on throughout their life and not really done anything with it or actually searched for the facts. Because here's the thing, if you were to look at the evidence that supports that, you'll probably find it's outdated.
Yeah.
It was 20 years ago. It was just one outcome. Let's look at all the other outcomes. You were fine. You didn't die. It was fine. It's brilliant. So actually, let's look at the evidence and actually how much of that evidence over the last couple of years actually supports it. Yeah. So actually now what you can do is now build a new table in your head which supports it. So for the listeners out here to kind of explain that metaphor, if everybody listening or even watching this imagines a table, you think about a table, let's go standard 4 legs. It's not like some funky table from IKEA. It's just a standard one from Argos. There are other companies as well that I recommend that just in case if Ashley gets sued here. A table. 4 legs, Ashley. The tabletop is your belief. That is what you
Yeah.
believe in. Now, all a belief is anything that you feel certain on about based on evidence or references. The legs, those 4 legs, is what supports and props up that table. Now, Ashley, if we was to remove the legs of that table, what would happen to the tabletop?
It'd get a bit wonky.
It'd fall on the floor. And if it was a glass table and we just suddenly magically tables to disappear, it'd go ksh.
Aye.
So what we know is that if there's your evidence points, we need to question that and look at what's true. Most of the people that come on our workshop will find, actually, I've had this limited belief for so long that I'm really bad at presenting, or my voice is really bad. Oh, people say I've got a really boring voice. No, it's not. It's great.
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're just not using the keys. So we talk about 88 keys.
Mm-hmm.
Most people will operate within about 7 keys. I
Yep.
use my voice like this every single day, Ashley, and there's nothing to go further than this. I can't live with my teacher and my family say I just have the boring voice. No, you actually have the same voice as Beyonce. What? Yeah, we all have the same vocal cords and it's 88 keys, but you're just not using them all. Then they go, oh, so we're going to give you some tools and techniques here to really expand your voice. And they go, oh, I do have a good voice. Yeah. And then they go, oh my God, that table that I had in my head wasn't true. So there's a long answer to your question, Ashley, but it's basically based on false evidence that they've been carrying
I like
throughout their life.
those. I like those. I
Yeah.
like long answers. I like long answers, and I love a good metaphor as well.
And a segue here for you. I'm going to close my window just to help ease with the audio while my daughter screams out the back. So carry on, Ashley.
Love it. Love it. Love it. But that was one of the things I think.
Outtakes. Sorry.
Outtakes. No, we don't do outtakes. But yeah, I think one of the things I know for me on a personal level, talking about those stories, I had this thing, and I don't even know where it came from, but I hated the idea of getting on stage because I thought I was going to face plant myself. And that stuck with me. And no, actually, I tell a complete lie. I know exactly where it came from because I used to be the running captain at school. And there were these stairs going up to the stage. So if I went up to collect a trophy, I was like, I'm going to stack it. 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 And it just became this thing. And to this day, up until recently, I would scope the room before I did a presentation. Okay, are there any trip hazards here? Now, bearing in mind, I'm flat-footed and I can fall over air. And I'm someone who makes a joke out of things when things go bad. But
Yeah.
those stories can escalate, can't they? They can become more than a limited belief. They can become controlling and stop you doing things because you just do not think. It just becomes loaded, right?
Oh yeah, totally. So language is massive. Now it's ironic that I put this post out today. So shameless plug here if anyone wants to come follow me on LinkedIn. I'm on Ricky Locke on LinkedIn. But this is a story that I often tell in the workshop or whenever I'm booked to speak on stage. And this is an old classic. So I don't know if you're familiar with this, Ashley, but if we go back to the 60s, 70s, not sure if you were alive at that point, maybe. I don't know your age, but you look pretty young to me. Pretty young
I
man.
saw 2 weeks. I saw 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks of the 70s.
Okay, 2 weeks and 7 weeks, fantastic. So, back in the 60s, when airlines started to really boom and excel,
Yep.
this is the typical experience that most people would have
Mm.
when they boarded an aeroplane. So the air hostess would come on and say, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your flight today to Paris. We're kind of glad to remind you that your exits are here, 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 and here. Now, the captain has told us that today is going to be an extremely turbulent flight. We are expecting winds of over 300 miles per hour. So we'd like to inform you that if you reach forward, if you feel a little bit queasy, reach forward, grab this brown paper bag, which is your air sickness bag, and throw up into the bag. When you've finished throwing up, please fold the flaps and pass it down to the cabin in front of you. And the man, lady, and gentleman in front of you will pass it down. We thank you for boarding with us and we hope you enjoy your flight." You imagine, actually, right? You're on that plane and you're just seeing these sick bags just being passed forward all the way to the front. Now, the airlines actually realize got a huge problem on our hands here. Why are people being sick? Now, actually, we'll know this, right? Because we are NLP practitioners. So thank you,
Yep.
Vander, if you're listening and watching this. Now, we know what happens is because if you start to program yourself with what you were saying a minute ago about the story you tell yourself or
Mhm.
language that you say to yourself, you cannot not think about it.
Yep.
So when the air hostesses were saying, "This is going to be a really scary and windy flight. There's a sick bag for you." People are not going to not think about it. So all they think about is
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is going to be
Cause and
terrible."
effect.
Yeah, exactly. So we see this backstage where we have people, about to deliver a presentation go, "Oh my God, this is going to be absolutely terrifying. Oh my God, I cannot. Oh my God, I can't wait for this to be over. I'm really not looking forward to this." What is all that language? "I'm not looking forward to
Mm.
this. I'm really scared." Who's listening to that? Yourself.
Mhm.
So then what happens is your brain goes, "Oh, well, Ricky keeps saying terrified, scared. I'm going to give him more of that because that's what he keeps talking about. He must want that." So when we talk about this, we talk about it in like what we call our focus of what goes on behind here. What we say
Mhm.
to ourselves, our language has a massive, massive, real importance here. I've got a 2.5-year-old who is screaming outside of the minute because my wife's playing
Mhm.
with her. You don't have any children, Ashley, do you?
No.
No. Nieces, nephews,
Yep.
grandchildren? No
Yep. Yep. Yep.
grandchildren? No
Yeah.
grandchildren.
Niche. You got grandchildren. Yeah.
No grandchildren.
You're
Nieces and
really
nephews.
going with this age
Oh,
thing today, Ricky.
sorry, yeah.
Well,
So, sorry, Ashley, yeah. So nieces and I was just testing you awake, that was all. You've got a niece. It would be
yes.
very easy for you to have a conversation with your niece's parents and they say to you, "Oh, how are you?" And they say, "Actually, I am bloody knackered. I'm absolutely really, really tired." Now, again, what's happening? We see parents all the time who are super tired. Now, let's not lie, it is challenging being a parent.
Mhm.
But what could be more useful might be, "Ashley, I'm about 8 out of 10 today. I could do with a bit more energy if I'm honest." Yeah.
Mhm.
Or in a business context, it could be, "Yeah, it's an adventure at the minute. I could do with a few more solutions." Because if we
There you go.
start
I
to
like
pay
that.
attention to what we say, then the brain and the body starts to match and we start to listen to it. And then that's what happens. The airline story, what was happening was we were focusing on a negative piece of language and the negative outcome would then happen. So as soon as they
Mm.
stopped talking about it, literally the day they stopped talking about it, everyone stopped being sick. And now, which is really interesting, the next time you go on a flight or anyone listen to this on a flight right now, they don't mention it, and half the time, it's not even there. You look in the seat in
Yep.
front of you, there'll be a safety card, maybe restaurant
Yep.
magazine card, and it's not there. Why? Because we
Mm.
don't want to pay attention to it. So in answer to your question, yeah, we've got to be really careful with the stories we tell ourselves, and you need to ask yourself, is this story that you're telling yourself, is it useful or is it hindering you? And I think the
Mm.
last example, we use this as a great role model. My mentor, Steve McDermott, who's a huge, huge fan of Muhammad Ali. Now, I
Mhm.
always ask this question. He had a wonderful, he had loads of like what we call sticky phrases, a phrase that pays. One of his
Yep.
favorite phrases, 4 words. Don't know if you remember what it was. He used to come out on the stage and say, "I am the,"
Greatest.
yeah.
Yeah.
And note that he didn't say, "One day I'll be quite good." He just said, "I am the greatest." He said, "I am the greatest." So
That's
what happens is then that's what he focuses on. So yeah.
And it changes your body as well, doesn't it? The
Yeah.
moment you start talking about that sort of stuff. One of the things, and it'll just be worth getting your input on in a minute,
Mm.
but I think one of the biggest things I focused on, because I used to get nervous, and I still do. What am I on about used to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I'd get nervous before I'd speak, and to the point it was cloying, because then you're in fight and flight, and
Yeah.
you're thinking, "Oh God, what's gonna go wrong? 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 Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And then you've got this nervous energy, and you're sweating, and you're not in a great place to do anything at that point other than get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And then I realized, and I can't remember exactly when it was there were two things I realized. One, with in terms of the language, was, well, what if things go well in
Yep.
this situation? And then also learning that from a physiological point of view, anxiety and excitement are the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was getting that visual in my mind that actually I'm excited to do this. I'm going
Yeah.
to smash this. I'm
Yeah.
going to absolutely have so much fun out there and people are going to love it.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I do literally before I go live, I'm dancing, I'm singing, I'm doing those sticky phrases like you say.
Mm.
I've already smashed this.
Yeah. Totally.
You are awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful being able to do that. I think having these things really takes the edge off when you're just about to perform on any level, whether that is a presentation, public speaking,
Yeah.
or even just presenting a video online.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. So, so here's a great thing that expands this. I can't remember who did the interview here. I can't remember who the female singer was. So let's just go for name me Ashley, like great American female singer, like big famous one. Let's go
Well,
for
from now, Beyonce,
yeah,
Taylor Swift,
yeah,
Dolly Parton.
maybe Dolly Parton, maybe Shania Twain. Let's go Shania Twain. So let's go back a couple of years
Okay.
ago. You had Shania Twain on one stage, and then you had Bruce Springsteen on another stage in another
Okay.
state in America. Shania Twain. Now it's not Shania Twain, so apologies if Shania's listened to this. It is somebody else, but I can't remember who it was. So apologies. We'll find out who it is. Shania Twain backstage. She gets a call. She has to call her coach to go, look, oh, God, my heart's racing. My
Mm-hmm.
heart's racing. I feel tight all in my muscles. I'm sweating. I can't do this. This is just before she's about to go on stage. Then you got Bruce Springsteen in the other state, which goes, my heart's racing. My muscles feel tight. I'm sweating all over. I'm ready for it. You can see the direct link, right? As you exactly said that. It's the same feeling, anxiety, panics, excitement, sweating, heart rate's increasing. I feel warm, but it's about choosing. So Bruce Springsteen goes, hey, I know I'm ready now. Where Shania Twain was going, or whoever it was, I can't remember the female singer. He was like, hey, oh my God, my body's having a panic attack here. This isn't the right thing. So we can it's not to trick our brains, but it's just the physiological reaction. And what we need to do is change sometimes. The quickest way to change how you feel is to change your physiology, start moving, and then start, like you said, hey, I'm ready for this, right? Shoulders back. I've got this. We have this wonderful phrase. We use this. This is our mantra in the Confident Club, which is this: I own this room. Your ass is mine. Now, here's the thing.
Boom.
If you believe that to be true, then nothing could go wrong. But most people don't believe in that. If I stand up, I mean, if you say it out loud, you're going to look silly, right? So any people going to do a wedding speech or about to stand on stage, say that in your head. But if you believe that, like, hey, I'm just going to go own this. I'm going to have so much fun. This is going to be amazing. We'll just have some fun. Then, hey, do you know what? That's what I'm going to focus on. And then that's it. So, yeah, so we've got to be really, really careful what we say to ourselves. And then when you start to learn and start to understand what's happening with your body, there's a direct link between your physiology and your focus. We get to choose. Quite often people go, oh my God, I think I'm sweating. This is not going to happen. No, this is good. Okay, cool. I'm just noticing what's happening and now I can redirect it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And from that, like you say, you get that choice. And I think that's one of the biggest shifts. I think anybody that has gone from having a lack of confidence in something to someone who now has a lot of confidence, they're able to harness that. And I think it's really important to note that it doesn't matter how many times you do this, there will be those times when you think, "Mm, uh-oh." I always quote, and I must have quoted this about 100 times now, but I'm gonna quote it again because I think it is such a brilliant example. But a couple of years ago, before Sir Paul McCartney went on stage at Glastonbury, he had stage fright. We're talking probably one of the most famous and most successful recording artists of our time was freaking out about the set list for Glastonbury because he thought, am I going to get booed off stage? Are they going to know my solo stuff? Should I just play the Beatles all the way through? And he was freaking out, you know,
Yeah.
and in the end, he thought, he managed to do whatever he did and he got back into the zone. He said, right, I'm Sir Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and own this.
Yeah. Totally.
And you go out and do it.
That's it. Yeah. And it's getting past that first stage because even still now, I perform, I present, I still get that excited feeling, that adrenaline rush. But it's then just about paying attention to it and not letting it go into the opposite side of going, oh my God, panicking. So I will use a couple of tools and techniques to get me into what we call state. So we know this through our learnings. So I'm hugely into anchors, which we talked about. And I think we actually changed, didn't we? The circle of awesomeness because of you. We changed to the circle. No, sorry, the circle of excellence to the circle of awesomeness because of
Yep.
you. So I love that. But anchors are so powerful. So there is a song called "The House That Heaven Built" by Japan Droids. Two guys from America, guitarist, drummer, thrashing it out. I love it. That for me is like one of my all-time greatest songs. So if I need a bit of like, okay, maybe I'm feeling like, maybe I feel a bit. I listen to that and it just immediately, I close my eyes. I'm just imagining myself having fun. I remember a time when I was really super confident. I smile and I just feel great and I absorb all that moment in there. And then I'm like, I'm ready for this. So quite often,
Yeah.
if I turn up at a wedding or I'm backstage, I have my headphones in. I'm just like, hey, you're right. Whereas you see a lot of the other speakers like going, I'm going to say, okay, that's not, you've gone past the point there, trying to remember
Yep.
what you're going to say now is too late. Now you need to do that mental rehearsal of like, start visualizing what's going on. Now, the problem is like with anchors that sometimes you can, we talk about visualization quite a lot. Sometimes you can visualize it for going wrong. You got to be really careful. So when we talk about stories, you were saying already, so talking about the stories we tell ourselves, we also have to think about the movies that we play in our heads. So
Yeah.
here's a great example. I did a keynote speech last year for the Matrix Trust Academy. Fantastic event. I was on stage with Nelson Mandela's bodyguard, Chris Lube, wonderful inspiration. You've got Musserat from Educating Yorkshire. He was the famous guy who had a stammer at school, and the teacher helped him build confidence. Wonderful event. And weeks and even months before, I was contacting the bookers to say, can you send me photos of what the room is? Can you send me any videos of last year? So then I've got loads of evidence to play in my head of like, oh, great, I've seen the picture of the room. I'm going to draw it on the floor. I'm going to map it out in my garden the same size. So then I can start imagining myself what I'm going to look like, what I'm going to feel like, what I hear on the day. So that when I rock up, it's just like, yeah, that's now what I know is going to happen. It's just like what we call pressing play on TV or on a DVD or a movie. Then it just plays through. So when I rocked up, I'm in flow state. It's exactly as I visualized it. Now, of course, things
Love
can
that.
happen. Things can go wrong. But most of it is like when I rocked up, I'm like, oh, great. Can't wait for this. It's going to be brilliant. So that's what we have to be really careful. You've got to be careful of the movies you play in your mind because you can play the bad, wrong movie. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've never gone that far with it. I mean, again, like I don't know. I'm someone who just kind of rocks up and goes with it. I mean, like if I, it's just my style. I've learned that over the years. It's like I trust myself now. I mean, again, like you said, with that evidence, it's like I know the moment I go, I will be in that space. So I just need to know what's my starting point, what's my end point, and how long have I got to get there.
Yeah, you're in unconscious incompetence, aren't you? Sorry, unconscious. Yeah, God, get it wrong. unconscious competence. You're just there. You're not even thinking about it. You're just in flow. It's just happening.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the thing we get where people come on the workshop and they are in that conscious state. They're consciously
mhm,
thinking about their notes. They're consciously thinking of where I've got to stand. What do I do with my hands? Eventually, when you start to just practice and start to learn, eventually it becomes unconscious. My
mm.
presentations, I can't remember what happens because I'm just out of my head. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So when I watched back a video recently, I was like, why did I say that for? I don't remember saying that. I had this
Mhm.
cool buzzword where I sometimes say cool or right. I was like, I don't remember saying that because I was just out of my head because I was having fun.
Yeah.
But we appreciate that when people start to learn and develop, that they do have to be quite conscious, but it's just through
Mm,
practicing, repetition, and
mm.
then that's how you get there. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing as well, isn't it? I think there's this narrative in the world right now, and I feel it has been accentuated and put on steroids by the narratives that we see on a daily basis across social media of the fact that today I can't do something, tomorrow I'm an expert.
Yeah.
It simply doesn't work like that. I mean, like, for me to do what I'm doing now, I mean, if I was literally to say to if I had, say, my even my 25-year-old self in the room right now
Mm.
and
Yeah.
said, "Right, go and do a presentation. You've got 0 prep. You've got 10 minutes, go." See ya,
Yeah.
out the door.
Yeah.
But now, because of the reps, there's that competence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's also, and I think this is really important, I don't think people ever really truly emphasize this nearly enough in a lot, there's trust. There's trust, and as you mentioned, there's that belief. So I've got the trust in myself to get the job done, and the belief and evidence to know that it is possible and will get done. And also the trust that if, say, something does go wrong, I've got the tools and the experience to flip it
Yes.
and operate on the fly instead of rabbit in the
Yeah.
headlights.
Yeah.
But that
Totally.
comes through experience, right?
Yeah, of course. And this is, it's one of my wonderful, I guess you could call it a formula. This goes back to Jack Canfield. Paul McGee's popularized it really well now in his book Sumo, and it's E plus R equals O, which stands for whatever the event is plus your response equals the outcome. So in
Mhm,
those moments where we go, oh my God, you got a 10-minute presentation, oh, I'm out the door. Whatever your response in will determine that outcome. And what
mhm,
people don't understand is actually there's like 3 R's, 3 responses that you can kind of control, which is, your thoughts, the feelings, and it's your stories to tell yourself. And actually, we get a choice. So we could
mm,
decide to go, this could be really scary, or hey, I'm just going to give it a go. And the
mhm,
outcome will be whatever happens. And that's it. It's just an outcome. It's nothing, failure, no success, doesn't matter. It's just an outcome. It's just something that happens. But unfortunately, people get tied up on no, I'm not going to do anything about it. So sometimes we do have a choice, but we have to just use, like you said, those tools and techniques to go, hey, you know what? I'm going to make this awesome. I'm going to do my anchoring. I'm going to get into state. I'm just going to make this happen and work. Yeah.
absolutely. And like I mentioned earlier on, it's all about putting in those reps as well. And also, we live in a world that's full of comparisons.
Mm.
And a lot of people, and I don't know, I'm assuming I'm interested to hear what you've come across in your work with that. But people often see people online or they see a public speaker or whatever, and they immediately compare themselves to that person and go,
Yeah.
I can never be like that. I can't be as confident as that person. I can't sing as well as that person. So I just
Yeah.
won't do it. And it's an unfair comparison. It's completely unfair comparison because that person that they're comparing themselves has been, how long have they been doing it? How much
Yeah.
money, time, energy have they invested? Are they being coached right now? The chances are even the most, even the best speakers in the world probably have a coach,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
guide them through that, to get them out of their head
Yeah.
to do that. And the advice I always give is, okay, if you're going to compare yourself to anyone, yes, have role models. Yes, have people that you admire. But if you're going to compare yourself to anyone, compare yourself to who you were when you started.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally, mate. So this is really interesting, isn't it? Like we often think about the swan gliding on the water, just lovely, peaceful, calm. And underneath it's like, the next, they're trying to keep them afloat, isn't it? That's what's happening. And quite often that's what we see. We see these really calm people rocking on stage. And there's often this mismatch between outer confidence and inner confidence.
Mm,
Sometimes it's about getting the butterflies, what's going on, and flying together in formation.
mm,
Now, with the comparisonitis thing, yeah, absolutely. This goes back to like what we said about the beliefs, is questioning if it's true. Happened to me back in 2020. I remember when we went into lockdown. Do you remember lockdown, Ashley? This big thing in 2020?
mm.
Something so
Vaguely.
long. What is it? Yeah, something
Vaguely.
weird. Some big thing, actually. Well, basically, the whole world had to lock down. Yeah, it was really weird. Anyway, most of you will remember, the listeners, we lost our businesses, everything. When things started to roll around again, and I saw loads of my mates who are magicians going out performing, I was like, why are they performing and I'm not? And then you start getting that spiral of like, oh, am I not good enough?
Mm,
Oh, should I be? Oh, am I not a success? And then if you start to question the truth, you go, okay, let's just pull it back. Let's look at the evidence that supports that belief. I had a belief there, like, I'm not as good as that person. But then when you start questioning, you go, oh, okay, right. They've been doing it 25 years. I've been doing it 5 years, whatever. And they probably have a big network of people, more agents, more businesses. And you go, oh, okay. So actually, when you start looking at the evidence, you go, oh, okay, it's not true. The other thing as
mhm,
well is what I think is what people don't often do is doing, and it's hard, to be open and to reach out. But what's stopping people to reach out to say that you look bloody confident on stage? Tell me, how do you do it? Because we know this,
mm.
right, from again NLP strategies. If you was to make a cake right now, Ashley, I mean, think about the podcast. Sorry, I have a podcast, you have a
Yeah.
podcast, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Your podcast is amazing, Ashley. How do I do what you do? And you sit down with me and you say, okay, Ricky, well, so firstly, we go on to Riverside. Okay, well, stop. Actually, wait, what's Riverside? And you go, okay, it's this online platform. Okay, but where do I go for that? Okay, so you just go online. Okay, where do I go online?
Mhm.
Google. Wait, pause. What, do I need Google Chrome? Yes, Ricky, you need Google Chrome. Okay, so carry on. And you say, okay, then you need a microphone. Oh, wait, stop. Actually, what microphone? And it's a strategy. You have a strategy for doing what you do. The same as like a
Yep.
baker will make a cake, same as, elite sports athlete runs. But actually, it's probably working out what is it that they do. Because sometimes you'll see these people on stage which are absolutely rocking it, but actually, what we could do is learn their strategies. Because we
Mm,
all could achieve all these things, the same as Beyonce. Coldplay just did Glastonbury.
mm,
What are their strategies, and understanding and unpicking that, and then going, so that's probably why I'm not out there doing all those weddings, or that's probably why this person is so much more successful than me, because I'm not following that strategy. So I would say to the listeners and that, if they do feel that comparison eyes, first is just definitely check the evidence. Don't be so bloody hard on yourself. Check the
mm,
evidence, because you'll probably find that these people have been doing it much, much longer. They've probably got teams behind them. They've probably got more money supporting it. They're probably not making any money because they're just spending it all on marketing or something like that. And then fourth is go ask them, hey, look, you're really great. I love what you do. I'd like to be as good as you. Can you tell me what your strategy is? And they
mhm.
might say, no, piss off, But 9 times out of 10, people, will want to help people and say, oh, I've never been asked that question. Sure, I'd love to help out. So I think that's
Yep.
something we can all think about and not get hooked up on that. Yeah.
Well, it's a great example. I mean, like, that happened with me the other week.
Yeah.
I run a masterclass, one of the participants, and I offered people a call after it. Um, it was, yeah, and one of the first people said, right, this is what I'd like to do on the call. She was very upfront about it. Need this knowledge. And once I've got that knowledge, I can decide whether I'm going to do videos or what support I need. And I was like, well, let's get on the call. So you're good with this? I was like, I told you on the call. I told you on the masterclass. This isn't a sales call. This is something that I offer. So we had that, and the questions were great. It was very much like what you were talking. It was like, I don't know the basics. So I don't have the foundations. So
Yeah.
for me, it's just alien. So people will, if you ask, people will generally give you their time
Yeah.
or give you, I mean, does it takes what? How long does it take? Just simply say, okay, right, have you tried this? Use this. This is where you can find this.
Yeah.
Takes seconds.
And actually, this loops back to what you were saying about the stories you tell yourself, because
Mm,
I probably I've just said this right now, of go ask that person what their strategy is. Probably people's first thought is, oh, they'll never say yes to me.
Mm,
Or I can't do that. They're like
mm,
much successful than me. Some of my greatest guests that I got on my podcast when I first launched it in 2021 are people I never dreamed I thought would get. They were like some of my favorite authors. And I just asked them on LinkedIn and they said, yeah, I'd love to. I went, wow. So I think that story then, we've got to be really careful again about what you say to
mm.
yourself, because again, it could be, yeah, these people are here to help you. So yeah.
That's a good point. I had the same thing with the podcast. When I started reaching out to people, I was like, well, they actually they're gonna want to be on my podcast. It's a
Yeah.
new podcast. I don't have the viewership, the listenership yet. And that was a valid point. Again, I think, when we talk about stories, we also have to, steep that in reality. People would be looking, some people are looking for like, right, okay, do you have thousands of listeners? And that's reality. And again, that's not personal.
Yeah.
That's their expectation. That's what they're looking for. And if you can't deliver that at this moment,
Yeah.
then you can't. Maybe it's something to revisit when you can.
Yeah,
But,
definitely.
like you said, there were people that would hold
Mm.
themselves back. They're going to say no. And it's like, well, you're making that decision for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Uh,
Yeah, you're right. And here's the cool thing is you can learn from that and go, if they, what they're going to say?
mm,
No, that's it. Or they might not get back to you. Cool. If they don't get back to you, try a different approach. Try a
mm.
different strategy. Do you need to send something in the post? Do you need to call them? Do you need to get hold of their manager or their booker or whoever? And then, don't go down the route where you're going to stalk someone, wait outside the
No.
window and go, I've been waiting for you to join my podcast. Why are you not here? But you get to a point where, cool, okay, well, okay, maybe this isn't right now. We'll come back to it. What can I learn from this experience? It's not a failure, it's just an outcome again. So, yeah, that's again, we are quite often our worst enemies of getting in our own way by what we tell
Mm,
ourselves. But again, check the evidence. People out there will be like, I'm so glad you called. I can't wait to get on the podcast. Yes. Wow, books that I've got on my shelf because guests have sent me books of like, yeah, I'll send you a new edition of my book and I'll send you a signed copy. Like, oh, brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
awesome.
And he wouldn't have got that if I didn't ask. So if we treat that again, NLP presupposition is that, no failure, only feedback, or no failure, only an outcome. We understand if you remove failure from the vocabulary, and again, this helps with our confidence, that everything is just an outcome. Everything I've
Mm,
ever achieved in my life in the magic business, I would always try my newest trick that I've never done before at the end of a wedding. Because
okay.
if it went wrong, well, it's just an outcome. Didn't go the way I wanted it to. I was going home anyway. But if it worked, I would carry on more of it and do more of it because I thought that's how I can try. Because if it goes wrong, I just get to go. Now I know in some
Yeah.
environments you're not going to be able to do that. If you're like a keynote speaker, but you got to try stuff. How do you know things are going to work? Right? You got to practice it. But all I realized was like, if a trick went wrong, I'm not going to go, oh, failure, what an idiot I am. Cool. I just go, how fascinating. Didn't go the way I wanted to. What do I need to do differently next time? And this is
Mm,
exactly the same thing when I think about, everything I've ever done is just say yes and learn how to do it later. It's the same thing. It's like, well, I don't quite know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a try. Now, how do like great comedians even test out their material? They don't do the big Wembley stadiums or anything like that before.
yeah.
They go to like the quiet, tiny little cupboard in a pub. So I'm
Mm,
going to try this material out. I don't know if it's going to work. It's called a work in progress. If you laugh, I'm going to keep it. So it's that. Just go try out there, but with the presupposition of if it doesn't go the way you want it to, cool. It's just an outcome. It doesn't define anything.
I think that comes into as well being playful, being
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah.
And also creating, giving yourself that space to do that. When you were talking there, all I was thinking of, it's literally was like growth mindset, growth mindset, growth mindset. It's just I'm gonna give this a go because
Yeah.
A, I trust myself to do it, and B, I'm not attached, massively attached to the outcome. I'm not gonna take the outcome personally because it's not personal. And the things like with the podcasting, with videos, with public speaking and education, geez. in teaching, like when I first got in the classroom, I didn't have a bloody clue what I was doing. And I literally realized my first ever class, I was like, this isn't working. I need to change this up. And again, it's good to do that, because one of the things I often say with videos or with speeches or with anything, you're the only one who knows what's on that script. So if you decide to go off on a tangent because you've read the room, or you thought, you know what, I need to mix this up, or I've got an idea and I think this is going to work better because I've got a really rowdy crowd here.
Yeah.
And I think if I harness that energy, they're effectively doing your work for you. But it's knowing that, and it's getting playful and getting curious and having that courage as well to say, that didn't work.
Yeah.
That didn't work. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, but what am I going to do differently next time?
Yeah.
It's
Ted
so
Lasso.
freeing. It's so liberating almost.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt there. Yeah. I was thinking of Ted Lasso. He's got a clinical quote, which is, be curious, not judgmental. I just love that idea of like, actually, yeah, just, wow, how fascinating. Great. Be curious. What's going on? Again, you can take that even wider, about thinking about the world and what goes on, and actually just be curious to understand what's going on with people's lives, or be, understanding, not judgmental. First thing we do is we spot and this is a great example. So we always talk about what's the most important part to any presentation. It's about what you're going to do to get people in the room. So you start and your end is important, but what are you going to do to get people in the room? Most people we see when they present, they go, next slide. Hi, my name is Ricky, and today I'm going to talk to you about this. Can I have my first slide, please? Yeah. So I did a really great example. This was based on a good recommendation. Check out Steve Head. He'd be good for your podcast as well. Steve Head has this wonderful principle called the 14915 principle. So I started off for a bit of curiosity. Started off our recent workshop last week in Muller. I had a big flip chart, and I wrote down 1 times 1 equals 1 in big like Sharpie. 2 times 2 equals 4. 3 times 3 equals 9. 4 times 4 equals 15. We know it's 16. I just left it there. And we just let people, they're all going, got that wrong. It's 3. Got that wrong. And I'm just about to kick off after lunch. They're like, I'm like, oh, you okay? They're like, yeah, your sum's wrong. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I just went into a story and went, yeah, so me and my wonderful niece Perry last week, we were sitting together and I was helping her with her sums, and she's really trying to learn maths at the minute. She's going to secondary school and she wanted a bit of support from her uncle, and I was helping her out. And I did some sums and I wrote down 1 times 1 equals 1, and she answered it right. I went 2 times 2 and she had 4, and 3 times 3, 9. Uncle Rick, I was like, yeah, that's right. And I wrote down 4 times 4, and she wrote down 15. I went, that's wrong, Perry, you got it wrong. She went, oh, is it? I said, yeah, it's wrong. She said, what is it? And I said, it's 16, Perry, you got it wrong. She went, well, it's not bad though, is it? I said, what do you mean? She went, well, I got 3 out of 4 right, didn't I? I was like,
Beautiful.
yeah, you did. And I went, and the reason I'm telling this story is this, because quite often we're focusing too much on the negative outcomes in our business, missing all the wonderful things we're doing right. What we need to start doing in this business is to start rewarding all the good work that we're doing. So again, it's like being curious. So I use that as a great example because people are just looking up and going, it's wrong, Ricky. No, actually, just be curious. Actually,
Black and
not
white.
just mental. Yeah, that's how we look at it. So yeah, that's a really good example. If you ever want to do that, do a flip chart. 1 times 1 equals 1. It's brilliant. People go, what's it? Good, wrong. What are you doing? No, what a powerful message. Yes, there you go. Yeah, be curious.
Well, you just, but also the fact that you just really touched on something that's really important, I think, as well, regardless of whether you're doing public speaking, presentations, video content online, anything, blogs, whatever it is you're doing, even with your work, with your, when you're doing your magic stories, taking people on a journey, helping them to kind of taking them somewhere, regardless with what it is you're doing, whether it's you're educating, we're entertaining, illustrating a point. I'm guaranteeing from that story you told me, I bet there was a few, oh yeah, and you've got them.
Yeah.
Because it's an everyday example.
Mm.
Everybody's been there, that right, wrong narrative,
Yeah.
that curiosity. It's visual,
Yeah.
and you don't need a PhD to understand it.
Totally. Yeah. 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 A great book for anyone who presents out there. We recommend this is Dave Henson. It's called Your
Mhm.
Slides Suck, which is a great good book. And he talks about how, PowerPoints, don't, get used really well. And, we talk about this in the Common Club that, most people don't use PowerPoint, they abuse it. And Dave Henson talks about is that quite often slides are created to be speaker support slides to
Mm.
help you remember where you are. Actually, no, what they should be is audience support slides. And he has this wonderful acronym in the book, which is RICE. And the whole
Mhm.
idea of it is that all slides should do is reinforce, illustrate, clarify, and I think it was explain. That's it. Nothing
Mhm.
else. So when often we see, I think Paul McGee said this to me on my podcast. It's not death by PowerPoint, it's torture. Bullet points left and right, back and forwards, like, oh my God. Oh, we know we can create impact by stories,
Mm.
props, other things. It doesn't have to, but we know like businesses have to use PowerPoint. We totally get that. But actually, we've been brought up into this culture of this is how you use PowerPoint. But actually, the only purpose really should be to do that. It should be reinforce, illustrate, clarify, and explain. So anything else can go. As long as you can do that,
Mm.
that's what you need. So can't remember why we're talking about that. But anyway, there we go. Let's see. Excited.
Well, no, I'm glad you brought that up because
Mm.
again, that's I always give the example when I'm doing my video training. People will start their videos with like, "Hi everybody, Ashley here, confidence coach. Just thought I'd come on to do a quick live about," and people are gone
Yeah. Yeah.
because seconds. It's like, I know you're Ashley. I know you're a confidence coach. I could see by the top of your post who you are and what
Yeah.
you do. If you're posting on LinkedIn, if you're posting on other platforms, I could see your handle. I know who you are.
Yeah.
You know, get to bloody work.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and using that, because if you've been invited to speak, that tells you as a speaker that there's interest.
Mhm.
So you've kind of got part of the job done,
Yeah.
but then it's your job to
Yeah.
get to work. Like the masterclass I did, I think I didn't even introduce myself. I just got straight to it. It's like, you know who I am. You've signed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
You're all connected.
Yeah.
Like, and I made a point of that to illustrate a point with the storytelling. It was like, was there any need for me to introduce myself and do a full page PowerPoint about how I
Yeah.
love heavy metal?
Yeah.
No.
No, yeah.
What did it add to the story? It added nothing.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? The difference would be, right? So if you think about like movie
Mm.
trailers,
Yeah.
movie trailers that you see at the cinema before the film comes out, it doesn't go, my name is John and I live in a village. And today I'm going to go explore this mighty world and I'm going to meet a big robot who will be against another robot who will try to
Mm.
kill me because the future, I think this was the Terminator, John Connor. Right. Anyway, no, they kick off with like the action sequence right away, get you in the audience, right? It's like, you've got like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It goes straight into like Arnold Schwarzenegger on a motorbike in the dam.
Mm.
It's the action straight away. Same thing with your story there. You could kick off just with, you talk about heavy metal. You could even just like start playing a riff. You can like build
Mm.
instant curiosity, like, what's Ashley doing? And then it could be like, it's one of my favorite songs. I want to
Mm.
share with you today why this favorite song of mine means so much to me. This song makes me feel the best version of myself today.
Love that.
And then you can just link it to whatever, And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to help you unlock the best version of yourself today by helping you to achieve confidence today. So let's get into it.
Absolutely.
So you imagine
I
like
like that.
walking out on stage doing that rather than going, hi everybody, thank you, thank you, Paul, thank you. Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, everybody. Yes, my name is Ashley. I'm a confidence coach, and today, get rid of that. That's all like fluff. Just go straight into it. Story, prop, personal, something like that. Fun.
Mm.
Get people in the audience, and then you could tweak it later on and say, "So, my name's Ashley." Now, 9 times out of 10, sometimes on a stage, definitely on a stage or in a online environment, you get introduced anyway. So
Yeah.
why are you repeating it again? Unless you're like really narcissistic, it's like, yes, my name is Ricky, just to repeat, my name is Ricky. But yeah, I love
Just
that.
in case you didn't catch that.
Yeah, I would challenge you as well. Actually, next time you do your masterclass, yeah, do something, start like that, and they were like, "What's that?" Because they were like really curious,
But
like,
you
"What's he
get that
doing?"
curiosity.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh," or you could just hold up a prop and just go, "What's he doing?" Or even have the prop there, and they'd be like, "What's he doing?" You call out to and pay attention to it. So one of my
Yeah.
favorite stories that I do, I talk about magical resilience. I can't always take it with me to every event because it's too big, but I have a big road close sign, big red one. So for anyone listening in the UK, you'll know these. They're huge. And I will literally walk on to the stage, plonk it down and say, who's ever had a setback in their business? They instantly
Boom.
get it. But then it becomes really powerful because then it becomes an anchor on stage because it's
Yep.
there throughout. I can call back to it. But then the real powerful thing is that when the keynote finishes or the talk finishes, when they drive home and they see that road close sign, they think of me and they think of the story and they think, what choice am I going to make? So there's loads of good stuff there. That's rather than just going, hi, my name is this. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
I usually start my masterclasses, like, depending on what it is, with talking about the weather.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, what's that got to do with videos? And then it goes straight into a point. And I was like, how many of you switched off? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's
Totally.
exactly what you're doing to your audience
Yeah,
when you
totally.
do that. So I think it's linking those stories, and again, in a way that resonates. But speaking of stories, speaking of presentations, speaking of confidence, if anybody is looking for your assistance,
Yeah.
how can you help them with that?
Yeah, thank you. So if they head to www.confidentclub.com, we host lots of different workshops throughout the year for lots of different companies. We also run 2 open workshops as well throughout the year. So anyone from the public can come. So if you're worried like you're not in a big corporate team, you can come as a solopreneur, business owner, and we host those twice a year in April and in October in London. 2-day workshop, absolutely brilliant. Not just about presentation skills, it's all about beliefs as well. So you do learn to walk away from it absolutely feeling empowered. And we've had people that have left our 2-day workshop with absolutely being petrified of standing up and presenting and then going off and doing stand-up comedy courses and even TED Talks. So it's a
Boom.
wonderful thing. Yeah, come check us out.
Boom. Love that. Love that. And in speaking of empowerment, speaking of beliefs, speaking of riding off into the sunset with a dose of positivity, it is time for the all-important question. What is your espresso shot of confidence for our awesome listeners?
Good question. This is something that we talk about a lot. And I think the quickest way to change how you feel is to change your physiology. Start moving, start shaking it out. Shoulders back, change your physiology. If we do this right now, actually, right? Let's go. Big smile as big as you can. Go. And go. And you instantly feel different. You instantly feel different because you've changed your state. Yeah, but you're laughing. So the quickest way to change how you feel is to change your physiology. Start moving, start going out there and just start walking, pacing. Maybe it's dancing, something like that. Maybe you just want to stand there, hands on your hips. Or even if, if you're not able to walk, you can still change that upper body, change the way your shoulders are, where you change your face, smile. Quickest way to change how you feel, put a big fat smile on your face and say, this is going to be bloody brilliant. Because if I was to stand there and go, Ashley, today's going to be really good today. It's going to be really awesome. I really think it's going to be really good. It doesn't have the impact, but if I change my physiology, like, Ashley, this is going to be absolutely brilliant. Because your brain goes, oh, he's smiling. He must be happy. Let's make him feel good. So then that's where it is. So that's my special shot of confidence. Yeah, is just go change how you feel. If you feel a bit crap, feel a bit nervous, you need a bit of confidence, start moving. Go for a walk, change your physiology. Maybe you want to put your hands on your hips, shoulders back, smile. You'll feel great. Do it.
Love it. Love it, mate. Love it. And it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, I love that. I always go walkabout before I'm about to go live. I actually go walkabout when I am live. I can't stand still. But that's me. That's me. That's my style.
Actually, this is it. A good space here to think about. People go if they're online. you can easily do that as well. So, just
Yeah.
come off camera. Sometimes put like a big post-it note on your camera with a
Hmm.
big smiley face. Jez Rose, great speaker. He has a Mickey Mouse plush because it
Yep.
always anchors him, reminds him of Disneyland, the happiest time of his life. He sees that and it makes him smile. So you can just
Mhm.
do that, come off camera and just go, hey, just gonna just do some breathing. I'm gonna change how I feel. I'm gonna move my body a little bit, and then hey, I'm good. I'm now ready. I own this room.
Ready.
The ass is mine.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Absolutely. I love that. And I feel like that's probably a good place to finish for today. So thank you so much for your awesome energy, your awesome tips, and for
Thanks,
taking
mate.
the time to join us today, mate.
Thank you, mate. Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And a thank you to you, our awesome listeners, wherever you are in the universe, for listening or watching as always. And if you're new to the show, don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this to get notifications when the next episodes drop. And then all that is left to say at this stage is have an awesome day, week, year, month, wherever you are in the universe. And don't forget to be awesome.